If you run a business and you are being ran by your crews or your employees and you can't create space for your own health and well-being, the business is running you. You are not free. You are not free.
It's time to down tools for a bit. Welcome to the ToolShed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hey there, before we kick off, I want to share a really important thought. 71% of you who watch this channel frequently don't subscribe. So if you've enjoyed any video you've ever watched, can you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps the channel more than you think, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests get. So let's go. Hey folks, welcome to this episode of the ToolShed podcast. In this episode, I'm speaking to Kassidy Warren. He is in America and he splits his time between two parts in America, one that's a bit more adventurous, the other one's got a bit more sun. He calls it split living. I'd never heard that term before, but I'm always learning something. Now, Kassidy is an entrepreneur. He started with renting out a spare bedroom for $35 a night. And he's built himself a business with around about $13 million worth of short-term rental properties in his portfolio. It gives him tremendous freedom. And now he's out there living the dream, helping people with their mindset about entrepreneurial pursuits, and particularly in the real estate area. And so I wanted to unpack Kassidy's knowledge on this podcast about mindset, about how to look after you, the goose that lays the golden egg. So you are responsible for the success of your business. And if you're not looking after yourself, then your business won't perform at the level that it possibly could, because it all comes down to your leadership, your guidance, your example, your energy, your ideas, your decisions, all of those sorts of things. So looking after yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, all of those areas is absolutely critical. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Kassidy. So Kassidy, welcome to the ToolShed podcast. You're somewhere in America. Whereabouts in America are you when I'm speaking to you right now?
I actually split live, also called snowbirding over here.
Is that an actual term, split living?
I just heard it and I'm going to use it.
Okay.
But yeah, my wife and I are up in Seattle for the majority of the year.
Yeah.
And then we spend a few months down in Arizona, getting to the sun.
I was going to say, that's a weather thing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, mainly weather, exposure to sun. Also, still be able to get out in the mountains and adventure, mountain bike, hike, trail run.
Excellent. So, what I love to learn about is how people got to where they are now. So currently, you're an entrepreneur, real estate investor, but what sort of happened in your life? What fired in your brain to move you in this direction and develop a passion for what you're doing now?
Well, I grew up in a traditional family, right? Middle class, sort of scarcity mindset around money, and no one in my family was entrepreneurs. No one owned businesses. It was all go to work, get a job, go to college, get a degree, that whole route of living your life. And that's what I knew. And that's what I was taught. I got good grades. I did everything that I thought I was supposed to do. And fast forward to essentially a 15-year career in corporate as an engineer, as a manager, as a leader. I was feeling, well, I wasn't just feeling, I was burned out. I was completely burned out because I had always felt a little bit different. And actually looking back now, I realized that at the time in corporate, I thought that feeling different or out of place or uncomfortable was normal, and that there was always sort of tension or this push-pull between my own true desires and what I could actually do, especially inside of the corporate environment. And come to find out, that's because I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to grow. I want to build. I want to create things. And so I got to a point where I was drinking way too much. And this month I'll be 8 years sober, but I was drinking way too much. I was living my life on repeat. So every day was the same day over and over again. It was get up. I was probably hungover, commute into work, work for 8 to 10 hours, commute back, probably work a little more, cook dinner, watch Netflix, go to bed. And then at the time, I was drinking a couple beers a night, a bottle of wine a night. And I was living that life on repeat. And I didn't even have enough space or clarity or room or capacity to even dream or think about what was next. And that's part of the reason they call it a trap, is that there's no time or space or money or energy for you to really, as an individual, dive into what you want to do next with your life or figure out how to get out of the trap, right? So my wife and I decided that we wanted to go live in our van, and we just needed to get out. And so we ended up saving up a bunch of money. It took us about 18 months. We quit our job. We lived in our van for 6 months. But it was really the second day that we figured out what we wanted to do. And that was to go invest in a bunch of Airbnbs. And now we're doing hotels. But it was like, we wanted to go design and create experiences for people and invest in real estate. We wanted to go split live or be nomadic to some degree. So the fast forward, spent about 5 years just buying as much real estate as we could. I went back to work. We both went back to work. We funneled every dollar that we had into real estate. We created incredible Airbnbs in Arizona, Washington State. We had one in Ohio. And we've just been really fortunate to be able to continue to leverage that equity and cash flow to go do the things that we want to do. And that's really my fundamental thesis is I teach something in my community. It's called escape velocity, where like we need a foundation. We need something that's going to give us some safety and security to go do the thing that we truly want to do, right? Becoming a real estate investor or becoming an entrepreneur, usually the first thing or even the second thing that you do is not the thing that you're going to do forever. They are stepping stones and platforms to be able to go figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. Yeah. And so now I still invest in real estate, but I teach people to also do it. And I have a podcast that I'm really proud of. It's called For Your Own Good. And I get to talk to people that I've always wanted to talk to. And I get to create content in that way that I really enjoy. And that was something, this ties back to the question, that was something that I didn't know that was on my heart, right? And this is what I truly believe is that everybody in the world has a real vision, a real dream, a real desire that 99% of the time goes unfulfilled, but that we all deserve to go live that dream. And so mine is creating content and talking to people and sharing information and getting to go travel and explore and adventure throughout the world and be free. And so that's my purpose, is to go be the permission slip for other people to go live their true purpose as well. Because I feel like I spent 15 years in corporate, and whether it's corporate or you are an entrepreneur and a business owner and you built a business that you don't know how to get out of, it's the same thing. And I want to give people the permission to be able to say no and to get out and to go create the thing that they actually want to create. And I can tell you more about the decision to do the podcast, but I'll stop there.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we talk a lot about in Black Belt, at least a message that I endeavor to get across, is you might love building, and that's cool. But when you become a business owner, more often than not, the business becomes a prison. And I'm trying to get the message across, like you are, that building business, the business itself can be a platform that gives you the time and financial freedom to go and pursue your purpose. And we'll get back to this next little bit in a bit, because I want your thoughts on this. People find it so difficult to figure out what their purpose is. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the things that you said was that you'd been, off the alcohol for 8 years. I resonate with that. I'm sort of, 27 years or something now, same sort of thing. And I just feel that because the business becomes prison for most people. They are looking for distraction, escape, and it can take the form of drinking too much, overeating, doom scrolling, all sorts of other things that perhaps people don't talk about in public to give themselves some sort of break or distraction or whatever for the constant grind. And this business just didn't turn out the way that I thought it was going to. And it gives me the opposite of what I thought I was going to get in the beginning, which was more money, more time, more choice, that sort of thing. So can you give me your thoughts? Because I know you talk a lot about health. You were talking about, getting out into the sun when you move to Arizona and things like that. How important is that for the business owner to prioritize themselves? It's like the goose that lays the golden egg, but they keep killing the goose all of the time, or at least making the goose unhealthy. So what are your thoughts on that and health practices for the business owner?
Yeah, great questions. I decided to take my health seriously about, I would say, 18 months ago. So I had already gotten sober, and everything that I built was on the backside of the decision to get sober. So that was number one. And then there's a journey along sobriety that you go through. You're sort of healing and rediscovering yourself and relearning how to operate as this new sober human being in all these situations. And then you also get to figure out who your friends are, the activities that bring you joy, like the business that you build, whatever you're doing. There's this journey in sobriety that you go through. And then at some point, it's time to take the next step in the journey, which is like, okay, I feel like maybe I'm healed. Yes, I'm sober. Yes, I used to drink a lot, but now I'm like ready to go take something else on. And that thing for me was having my outside appearance match how I felt about myself inside. But what I want to say about that is that when I really took my health seriously, that's when my life really changed. When I decided to go to the gym 5 days a week, every week, no matter what, no matter where I am, no matter what country I am in, and lift heavy weight every single time to failure and change the way my body looks at almost 40 years old now, the mental clarity, the mental strength, the confidence, and everything else that comes alongside of that, because going to the gym and what I just described is a perfect metaphor for every other thing that you want to accomplish in your life. People started treating me differently. People started looking at me differently. I started showing up differently. My ability to process emotions and handle difficult situations, focus on my own desires, my own joy. And there's that phrase, right? Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. Me taking care of myself and my health, and even beyond lifting weights or working out physically, but like I have a blood condition and I'm taking care of that, making sure that I'm here and healthy and not exhausted and focused and mentally available to my family means that I'm able to pour out more into the world, which ultimately is really what business owners want, is to be of service to the world. But when you feel like you're trapped in a prison, and that turns into bad habits of drinking, smoking, vaping, weed, gambling, overeating, hiding, not working out, and using the excuse of, oh, it's for the business or it's for the family, it's for the kids. You're actually robbing from yourself, and you're robbing from your ability to provide value to society. So when I started taking care of my health at a serious level, and I believe every human is an athlete. Every human can benefit from doing what I just described, to go lift heavy weights. It's like what we're meant to do, almost. At least that's the way that I feel. And you mentioned distractions, and I just listed out a bunch of distractions.
Yep.
I resonate with that, and I believe anyone that is vaping, drinking, smoking, gambling, all the things that I listed, those are coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Truly, those are coping mechanisms. You may get a positive benefit from it in some regards. You may not be addicted to it. People may just be able to go have a drink or have a cigarette once in a while or whatever. But most of the time, especially with business owners, they're coping mechanisms, and they're used to distract and detract your mind from recognizing and acknowledging your true desires deep down inside of yourself. And I'm speaking from experience, where you get to a point where you've built something, or you're in your corporate job, or and I think this happens a lot in your 30s, but you're in your 30s and you're married, and maybe your relationship isn't where you thought, or you don't have a relationship, or something is not going the way you expected it to. It's so much easier to distract from feeling the emotions that come up and the acknowledgement of the truth that's inside of us. That's what I believe that we are doing, and most people are doing, is avoiding the truth and not being able to confront themselves with that truth. So,
Yeah. So going back to lifting the heavy weights, doing all of those things that create a better foundation, I guess, for health in the future. I can just hear in my mind builders listening to this going like that there would be some that, and I know a number that go to the gym, they run their business and they go to the gym and lift heavy weights and all that sort of stuff. But there are also many that go, but I'm out on site and I'm doing that exercise, I don't need to go to the gym. But I just want to tap into your thinking around that, because I think that's a mindset thing. Yes, lifting heavy weights in a certain way to failure, it creates a powerful foundation, particularly, core and things like that, so you don't lose days and months and have to change what you're doing in the future because your body can't cope with it anymore. You're building up that resilience doing that properly. But I think that there's a mindset component to this that you're alluding to. Like it's not the lifting of the heavy weight so much; it's the choice to put the time aside and prioritize doing that activity. Can you speak to that? How important is that? How difficult is it?
the reason that business owners, builders, so true in the real estate industry, because you're dealing with contractors, they're up early. You need to make sure they're set up in the morning so that they have the vision, they have the materials, they have everything they need. We don't know how to set boundaries, and we have created this chaos in our lives because we believe that that's how it has to be. But true leadership, true ownership, being a man, being a woman, being a person of integrity and longevity is you being able to set boundaries for yourself. If you run a business and you are being ran by your crews or your employees, and you can't create space for your own health and well-being, the business is running you. You are not free. You are not free. So the act of setting aside time every day just for yourself is something that is very uncomfortable for most entrepreneurs. But it's this thing that will open up this ability to see inside of yourself. It'll also calm your emotions. There's a phrase that my mentor likes to use: exhaust the body, tame the mind. Right? If you're finding yourself angry, frustrated, disgruntled, you lash out, people walk on eggshells around you, or maybe you're just completely oblivious to everything that I'm just describing, which is a hard place to be. that you are the problem, but nobody's saying anything to you, or you're not willing to hear the feedback. You need to go to the gym. You need to go get energy out. You need to separate yourself. You need to create boundaries. You have created a trap for yourself. And it is up to you as the leader, as the owner, to set boundaries, and people will appreciate you and respect you more for it. But right now, you are allowing people to treat you a certain way. You think you're this big boss man, but you're allowing people to treat you a certain way. And it's under the guise of, they need me. They can't do it without me. No, it's just that you've trained them to go to you for everything. You haven't leveled up your ability to be a better business owner. And doing something like, I'm going to take 2 hours every morning to go to the gym, and everyone in my company knows that I'm going to go do that. That's how you level up as a leader, because you are now setting boundaries and doing things differently. And if you're taking 2 hours away now, you now have to prioritize better. You have to delegate more. You might have to hire a new person because you can't do everything. But if you want to prioritize yourself and be healthy and live a long time and have a six pack, because that's the other thing, in terms of the guys that, oh, I'm on site, I'm lifting, I'm working. Do you have a six pack? Do you eat whole foods? Like, do you look the same as you did a year ago? Or are you bigger? Do you have more body fat? So you can't tell me that lifting on site, just working, is the same as going to the gym 5 days a week to failure on every set. That is a different thing. You will have a six pack. You will look different within 3 to 6 months. And that's what I'm talking about around the mindset, is going to the gym or lifting or having a goal around what you're doing, because then your training is intentional. Your training is purposeful, and you need to do it. And why it's so important, I did the math, or I ran it through ChatGPT. On average, most men, most women can gain only 5 pounds of muscle a year on average. That means every day you can only gain 1/5 of an ounce of muscle. So all that effort that you put in to failure, every set, every day, no matter what, you're still only gaining 1/5 of a pound of muscle so that you can gain 5 pounds of muscle a year. But that's what it takes. And usually the business owners that can't find the time are the ones that need to create this new version of themselves that can carve out the time, that is okay with things taking longer than they have in the past, creating long-term goals and doing small, consistent actions over time to lead to the long-term results that you're looking for. You have to change your habits, your identity, your decisions, who you are, to level up. And the gym metaphor of going to failure 5 days a week and only being able to gain 1/5 of an ounce of muscle every day is such a good example, because that's also how you create change in your business, is small, consistent actions every single day and reinforcing the same thing over and over and over again.
It kind of reminds me of, I think it might have been Dr. Arthur Brooks talking about, he's a big proponent of lifting heavy things as well. He's in Harvard Business School, and specializes in happiness, which is a good thing to specialize in, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But he says that the part of the problem is most of what you're talking about. And by the way, I agree with everything that you've just said. Most of that stuff is boring, and we're just not used to being in that state of boredom anymore. We have to be stimulated every moment of every day by some external thing. But I just want to play devil's advocate, because I'm sure that the majority of people listening to this are going to have this mindset. So I want to start by saying I agreed with everything you said, and I quite often say exactly the same thing. Is the thing that we're suggesting that you do will be the solution to the problems you keep complaining about. But you say, where do I find the time to do that thing? And my view is, do it. Like one of our members some time ago said, I'd love to just have a round of golf every Wednesday afternoon. Can you tell me what I need to do to plan my week so I can do that? And I said, schedule it in on Wednesday afternoon. That's it. And everything else will fall in around it. And that's such a simple concept but it's such a difficult concept for people to get their heads around, and they just can't believe it's that simple, and they can't bring themselves to just do that. They need to get everything perfect before they go and do that thing. Same with the gym. Perhaps, and I'm hoping that from your voice, we'll be able to hear something that people will finally take notice of and just start to do this stuff, because I've said it a million times, and there are people in our group still that go, no, it can't be that simple.
If you want different results, you have to do different things.
Yeah.
If you want different results, you have to do different things. It's simple as that. If you start at the top, you need to have some sort of vision for your life. You need to have a goal or a purpose. Because right now, your only purpose is keep the business going, keep the business going, keep the business going. And so you're in this operation loop, operation mode, just busy, 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 go, 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 putting out fires, phone, 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 the chaos, right? But if you want something different, just do different things. It's literally that simple. But the best way to do it is to have a statement, have a mantra, have something that aligns with what you want. Even if you just say, I want to be healthy. I want to golf more. I am a golfer. I am an athlete. I am happy. I spend time with my family. Right? Write something down, like do something different. Because currently you are an exact representation of every single decision, habit, behavior, everything that you've done in your life up to this point. You are a perfect representation of all of that. If you want to look different, be different, talk different, lift different, work differently, react differently, you get to spend some time doing the things that those types of people do. It's very simple. What does a pro athlete do? If you want to be a professional athlete, go do the things that the professional athlete does. It's going to take you time, and you're not going to do all the things all the time, every time perfectly that a professional athlete does. You're not going to be Michael Jordan, but you get to start, just like you said. If you want more space for family or golf or lifting or whatever it is, start by literally putting it in your calendar and just doing it. If it's one time a month for now, and then it turns into 2 times a month, perfect. That's great. But you need to give yourself the space and the ability for it to be imperfect. But you need to create a commitment to yourself around the thing that you truly want. And again, it gets back to becoming this future version of yourself that is able to say no, that is able to prioritize themselves, that is able to set boundaries, that is able to turn the phone off. Simply put, if you want to be the business owner that can turn his phone off, then just try turning your phone off for an hour a week. Like that's how things get done, is you just do them. The other way that really helps is hiring a coach or having an accountability partner, something or someone or a group or a community that is aligned with the thing that you want to do. That's how I really get things done. So there's 2 things that I decided to do recently that I've been talking about for a long time. And when I realized that I've just been talking about it for a long time or thinking about it, but I haven't taken action on it, that's my indication that I need to go pay someone or pay something or get into a community or do something different than I've been doing. So I've been wanting to do a big trail run race in the European mountains, in the Swiss Alps or the Dolomites. And so what did I do? I signed up for one. I just signed up for one. I did it. And I texted my wife and I said, I'm doing this. Do you want to do it with me? Yes. Okay, cool. We're doing it. And then what did I do? I told everybody about it. I told everyone that I'm doing it, because now everyone knows that I'm committed to doing this thing. And because I have a podcast and I create content, I'm also going to create content around my journey of running a marathon in the mountains. I'm not saying that your audience has to do that, but create some accountability in your life, create some stakes, right? So like put something on the line if you don't do what you say you're going to do. Also set a reward, right? So I set a reward for getting to a certain body fat percentage. I bought myself a watch when I hit that. That was really motivating for me to do that. But these are accountability things, and you don't have to overcomplicate it. Just go set a goal, book a race, sign up for the gym, tell your wife, tell your team, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week in the morning from 7 to 9 a.m. Hold me accountable. If I don't go, I'm putting $50 in this jar. Simple stuff. They're going to hold you accountable. The other thing that I did is I've been wanting to write a book. So I know that I'm not going to do it on my own. So I went and hired somebody to help me write a book. It's a company called selfpublishing.com. A buddy of mine owns it. And they have a system that holds me accountable to writing this book. It's not going to be perfect. I haven't even really started writing it, and that was 3 weeks ago. So I need to make sure that I'm allocating time in my calendar to go do the things that I say that I truly want to do, and then subtract everything else. But the subtraction is where your audience probably gets the most hung up, because they haven't leveled up enough to know that they can either just let something go and not do it anymore, or they can delegate it. Because the tension that they're feeling, this is what I really want to hammer home. The tension that your audience feels when trying to do a new thing is not just the tension of, oh, it's a new thing and it's change, or I'm just starting out. It's actually your old identity trying to hold on and protect you from getting hurt in a way. So it's your old identity holding on, and your new identity wanting to take root, but not yet having the strength and the foundation of being the new version of yourself. And so that's the actual tension, is you've been this old version of yourself for so long that your mind and your body and your habits are all pre-wired to do the same things and react the same way and eat the same things and go to the same places. We are creatures of routine. We are creatures of habit, whether you know it or not. And you have created an identity that is rooted in everything that you've done up to this point. And so it's your old identity holding on compared to your new identity trying to take root. And when you understand that, it actually gets easier to do the things that you want to do when you realize that it's just going to take a little bit of time to go do it.
Again, I agree with everything you said. And I promise this will be the last time I'll play devil's advocate. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on when a person agrees with everything that you're saying. So from a coaching perspective, they're asking you, this is what I want. How do I do that? Because, excuse. And, I know I should go to the gym, but when it comes time to go, I just don't feel like it. And there's that response. I just can't get myself to do it. I just don't feel like it. So part A of the question. Second part is the impact of always chasing bright, shiny objects, the shortcut, the quick fix, that sort of stuff as well. So there's this, I don't feel like doing what Kassidy has told me to do because it sounds, there must be an easier way. There must be a faster way. And I know there isn't. I see you shaking your head. I know that. But I guess what I'm looking for here is the magic words from Kassidy to get into the mind of the people who use that as an excuse all of the time, to get them to go, holy shit, there's nothing. There is no shortcut. I just need to do it. How do we get people to move from that quick fix mentality and I just don't feel like it? How do I turn it around so I can feel like it, to start to do these simple things that can be life-changing?
The pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of change. That's where most people make the decision to do something different, which is unfortunate because a lot of men, a lot of people, a lot of business owners have a high pain threshold.
Tolerance. Yep.
And so they could be completely dead and they still might not want to change. It's the recognition that they're in pain and it's not changing and it's been the same for a long, long time, and that they're finally sick of it. and that they want to do something different. The other wait, ask me your first question again.
The second part of the question was just this constant need to find the shortcut.
The shortcut. Yeah. Well, and there's so much that I could say about deciding decisions. The thing that helped me the most was actually putting some money on the line, investing in programs, investing in coaching. I've spent over like $250,000 US in the last couple of years on coaching, mentorships, therapy, leadership programs. Because when you put money down on the line, like real significant money, you want to get the most out of it. You want to get the results, right? You're going to commit to getting what you wanted out of it. You paid money. So go and get in proximity to the people that are doing the thing that you want to do. So maybe you aren't ready to go to the gym just yet. Maybe you want to start out by running or whatever it is. Go find a run club or go get in a community, go be part of a program, hire a trainer, right? I spent, I think it was $6,000 on a fitness coaching program that had accountability, it had macros, it had all the stuff that I needed. But it was really being a part of the community and other people that were doing the same thing and around people that had this similar mindset of wanting to achieve this thing, getting a six pack, getting jacked, whatever it was. And so getting in community and removing yourself from the toxic environment or whatever environments are dragging you down and keeping you from doing the things that you actually want to do. So the other piece of this is sometimes not starting is because it feels too big. And my advice to that is if the next step feels too big, then you need to make it smaller. So if the next step is going to the gym 5 days a week, make that way smaller. Maybe it's once a week, or maybe it's going and visiting a gym, or maybe it's going on a mile run, or whatever it is. If the next step is too big, you need to make the next step smaller. So in anything that you're deciding that you want to do, try to make the next step as small as possible if it feels way too big and there's too much anxiety. In terms of these shortcuts, this is such a good question. This took me a really long time to learn, but you have to be okay with things taking longer than you want them to, which is why it's so important to have a purpose and have something that you really are passionate about. Because the thing that's your purpose and the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you want the most, you need to be okay with it being a decade-long journey. And as soon as you recognize that it's okay that it's going to take a decade because it's about who you get to become along the way, that's when you find true fulfillment. That's when you find true happiness. Because it's not like a light switch of I'm this new version or I'm not. It's not I met my goal or I didn't. It's literally you doing all the things that are required to get to that place over a long period of time consistently that will transform you into the version of yourself that you want, bottom line. And when you can get comfortable with that, and that's why the fitness, and it's so funny that we're talking about this because I'm not a fitness influencer, I just believe in this. But that's why the gym and lifting heavy weights and only gaining 1/5 of an ounce of muscle every day is such a great metaphor, because for me, it's going to take me another 3 years to really get to where I want to be. And so that'll be a total of about 5 years. Do you think I'm going to build confidence in myself? Do you think I'm going to look different in those 5 years? Do you think I'm going to meet new people? Do you think I'm going to try new things? Do you think my health is going to improve in those 5 years, that I'm on my way to my ultimate goal? Yes, 100%. And so when you recognize that it's literally not about the end goal, it's about the journey, right? We've heard this so many times in our lives, but you get to be so much more proud of yourself, and you get to relieve some of the anxiety and the pressure of trying to find the solution and be right. And you get to live in this life much sooner than you believe. This is what I teach to the people in my community, is that like you get to be that person so much sooner than you know, because you're doing all the things that those types of people do. And you're living in that life, and you find the freedom and you find the fulfillment along the journey. And the last thing that I'll say about it is how it relates to you as a business owner, you as a builder, you as an investor. That is always the next level for people, in my experience, is their ability to extend the timeline of what they're working on, to think bigger, to have an expansive viewpoint on what they're trying to build, because it gives them space to be a better leader. It gives them space to have more empathy for their team, to hire better, right? If you gave yourself a little bit more time on your journey, would you be just hiring whoever shows up at your door? Or would you be hiring the people that you know are going to have the biggest impact? If you know that you're trying to build something massive, what kind of leader are you going to be? How much are you going to reinvest into your dream? Who are the type of people that you're going to bring in? Who are you going to partner with? Where are you going to live? The bigger you think, the longer it might take, but you get to live in that new life and that new version of yourself. But it all starts with knowing what you want. And you asked about purpose. Finding purpose, you're not just going to sit here and say, this is my purpose. You're not just going to sit here and say that. It doesn't happen that way. You get to go search for it and find it through doing new things. That's it. You set a goal and you try to go do it, because you might not know your purpose. It took me a while to figure out what my purpose is. But I had to go do new things. I had to sample these things that were on my heart. Okay, starting a podcast, creating content, real estate investing, being a better husband, like all this stuff that I've tried and done. It was necessary for me to get to a point where I knew what my purpose was and what I wanted to do, and to take action on it. And so my advice to anyone that is like, I don't know what my purpose is, there's a couple things. There's something on your heart. There's something that you want to do. And for me, it was starting my podcast. And to go from an engineer, corporate, IT, I was a real estate investor, to try to get out of the trap. I had to sort of like admit to myself and admit to my family and admit to my wife. It felt like I was admitting something, that I wanted to be a content creator and that I wanted to have a podcast, because it was so different than what I had created. But it was on my heart every single night. Went to bed, and there was nights I went to bed like, I'm crazy. But it was on my heart, and it was like, this is what I want to do. And I felt like I deserved to give myself that. And so I did that over a year ago. And the things that have happened, the people that I've met, the doors that have opened, the rooms that I've been in, the fulfillment that I've felt, the gratitude that I've had, has been monumental. The people that have showed up in my life has been absolutely insane. But because I chose in on myself, the universe was willing to give me what I had asked for so long. But I had to let go, and I had to become this version of myself along the way. And then my purpose started emerging. What do I like? What's meaningful to me? What was the thing that hurt me the most as a child? What did I feel like I missed out on? What do I want nobody to experience in the world? How can I help people not feel hurt? Or how can I help people not be stuck? How can I help people in the way that I didn't have, right? So there's a couple of phrases that my mentor uses. Your purpose sits right next to the most painful thing that ever happened to you, right? And I'm fortunate that I didn't have any truly like major traumatic events in my life. There are things that were traumatic for me, but there's people that have experienced things that are just, unfathomable.
Yeah.
And that might be their purpose, is to not allow any of those things to ever happen to anyone ever. And that's why you see a lot of therapists, they become therapists because of what they experienced as children. Well, that's what we want to say, but ultimately it was because they healed. And so I was not aware of entrepreneurship. I was not aware of creation. I was not aware of being a business owner, or that it was possible, or that it was an option. or that I could be free. I could travel, I could live, I could love, I could help, I could do all these things that were on my heart, but I had suppressed. And that's really my purpose, is to allow people to go experience that for themselves. Especially now, especially with the wage gap divide, more and more money goes to the top. The middle class is being squeezed. Everything's more expensive. AI is coming around. People are going to lose their jobs. And I believe that you need assets. You need businesses. You need something that is going to give you some independence. You need to own something that's going to allow you to be free so that you can make some decisions for yourself. So
I hope you're enjoying my conversation with Kassidy. In our next episode, so this will be a split episode, we'll have part 2 with my conversation where we'll get very deep into purpose and how you can find your purpose and how it can make a massive difference to the way you run your business and how you even feel about running a business. It's very, very powerful. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well to make sure you get notified when part 2 with my conversation with Kassidy hits the airwaves. Before you go, if you haven't done the Builders Freedom Readiness Scorecard, there's a link in the description. It'll take you 90 seconds. It will give you a score as to where you are at the moment with your business, because different businesses move at a different pace, and it's all well and good to look at somebody who's successful and say, well, I should do what they do, but that doesn't always work, and quite often it doesn't work, because what you need to look at is what did they do when they were in your position now. And so the Builders Freedom Readiness Scorecard will give you a score as to where you are now, but the best thing is that you will also receive a PDF in your email that's giving you some suggestions as some actions that you could take to improve the amount of time freedom and money freedom, if you like, perhaps eliminate money stress in your business, some ideas that you can implement straight away. And the whole thing takes about 90 seconds for you to answer the questions, and then you will get the score and the PDF, and off you go. And of course, we're always here to answer any questions that you might have in relation to the activities that have been prescribed or areas that you would like to improve in your business. All you need to do is reach out. We're not hard to find. So that's it for this episode of the ToolShed podcast. As I said, make sure you hit the subscribe and the notifications button so you'll get the notification when any new podcasts hit the airwaves. I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. That is all. I am out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the ToolShed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.